It started like any other day. Just me, my delivery truck, and the endless loop of houses. I've been working for Amazon for a couple of months now. You get used to the routine, the predictability. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened that day on Elm Street. I was nearing the end of my route when I pulled up in front of an old 2-story house. Just another stop, I thought. And then I saw her. A woman standing on the porch, arms crossed, her face twisted in something between anger and disgust. She was staring right at me. I parked along the curb, double-checked my list, and headed toward her neighbor's door. That's when I heard the voice.
You can't park here.
I turned to face her. She was standing at the edge of her property now, one foot planted firmly on the sidewalk, the other in her yard. Her eyes were wild, dilated almost. "Ma'am, I'm just delivering a package next door. I'll be out of here in 2 minutes."
I don't care.
Her voice cracked, but it wasn't the shrillness that got me. It was the calm undercurrent beneath it, like something dangerous was simmering just below the surface.
This is my street. You don't belong here.
I've dealt with rude customers before, but this was something else. There was something about the way she stood. Too still, too tense, that sent a cold ripple down my spine. I forced a smile and tried keeping my voice steady. "I think the streets belong to all your neighbors, including that one." I pointed to the house next dude. "And I'm just doing my job." For a second, I thought she might let it go, but then she stepped closer, blocking my path.
Leave. Now.
I hesitated. It wasn't just her words, it was the way she looked at me, like she knew something I didn't. I muttered something about finishing my job. I bypassed her and quickly dropped the package at the neighbor's door. In seconds, I got back to the truck. But as I drove off, and I glanced in the rearview mirror, I felt it. The inevitable promise of an impending doom. That weirdo was still there, standing in the middle of the street, watching me. I shrugged it off, thinking it was over. I couldn't have been more wrong. Hours later, after a long day of deliveries, I found myself driving home, my mind drifting back to the woman on Elm Street. The way she looked at me had stuck, burrowing its way into my thoughts. I shook it off. I was just tired, I told myself. Too many deliveries, too little sleep. Then I noticed something as I neared Elm Street again. A shadow, a figure standing by the side of the road. Her. My stomach dropped. She was waiting for me, all this while? I slowed down, hoping to pass by unnoticed, but the moment she saw my truck, she stepped right into the street, arms crossed just like before. I had to hit the brakes to avoid hitting her.
Get out of the truck.
She ordered, her voice low, eerily calm. I didn't move. My heart was pounding now, each thud echoing in my chest. "Ma'am, I don't want any trouble. I'm just headed home." Her face twisted into a smile, but it wasn't comforting. It was too wide, too forced, like she was mimicking a human expression she'd forgotten how to use.
You think you can just come into my neighborhood, do whatever you want, and leave?
Something in her voice told me this wasn't just about parking, something deeper, something twisted. "I'm leaving now," I said, my voice barely above a whisper as I shifted the truck into reverse. Her smile dropped.
Oh no, you're not.
She lunged toward my truck, her hands slamming against the hood. My breath hitched. What was she doing? I hit the gas, reversing down the street as fast as I could, tires screeching. In the rearview mirror, I heard her sprinting to the car, the engine roaring to life. She was coming after me. I floored it, speeding through the winding streets, headlights cutting through the thickening dusk. She was right behind me, her car barely inches from my bumper. The beams of her headlights flooded my mirrors, blinding me. My pulse raced as I swerved down a side street, praying she wouldn't follow. But she did. Every turn I took, she was right there, relentless. I could see her face now in the reflection of her headlights, contorted, unhinged. It was like she was enjoying this chase. Her faint giggles reached my ears as I raked my brain for possible escape. And just when I thought there was none, I spotted it. A narrow alleyway up ahead, just wide enough for my truck. Without thinking, I veered into it, scraping the sides of the vehicle as I barreled through. Her car wouldn't fit. I hoped it would slow her down. I parked in the shadows, killing the engine, holding my breath. Everything was silent for a moment. Then I heard it, the crunch of gravel, the slow roll of tires. She was circling the block, looking for me. My hands shook as I clutched the steering wheel, sweat dripping down my face. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears, each thud louder than the last. I watched her car crawl past the alley, her headlights sweeping across the entrance. She had lost me, hopefully forever.